Welcome to Talk to Brazil with Tom Reaoch, the business connector to business in Brazil. Welcome to Talk to Brazil, the business connection, a leading business podcast talking about business in the world. I'm Tom Reaoch, an American from Pittsburgh living in Brazil, known as the king of networking, and talking from my podcast studio in Campinas, São Paulo. Today's guest is Steven Dossou, and he's joining us from Turkey, though presently living in the Netherlands. Steven is an inspirational TEDx speaker, author, co-founder of Leadership University, owner of Salesforce Catalyst. He's also a DEI advocate and the creator of Ignite the Transformation Summit. Steven has followed his dreams and recreated a path by elevating himself from very humble beginnings in his country of origin, that's Togo-West Africa, to leadership roles on a global platform. So with that, Steven, welcome to Talk to Brazil Business Connection.
Thank you very much, Tom. I really appreciate the opportunity of being here today. Personally, I'm always a big fan of everyone that has a platform to serve the world, and I think you're one of them. So thank you so much, Tom, for having me.
Well, thank you. What we do, unfortunately, for me, I think we've been able to create a literally global audience, but it's always good to see, and I thank you for coming on, because there are challenges all throughout the world. Brazil's a country that offers challenges to its people. I've seen you've started from your humble beginnings. Success is step by step, so.
Yes.
But Steven, tell us about the Leadership University. What's that all about?
Yeah. So the Leadership University, one of the motto of Leadership University is that the teacher is the new coach. Mm-hmm. So when my co-founder, obviously, I don't want to say anything about Leadership University without saying greetings to my co-founder, Arthur Kamazi, who's the world #1 thought leader. Mm-hmm. So when we came together to create the Leadership University, we identified a need in the school system whereby when we looked back in our school days, we understood that in many circumstances, many times, what teachers have actually become are content deliverers. Uh-huh. So the impact that teachers are supposed to make in the life of students, we've seen that it is not being made.
Right.
So you find that you go through our school, you study for 12, 13 years and graduate from high school, but the actual skills you need to survive in the real world, like negotiations, like being confident, like public speaking, right, like being able to convey your ideas properly in a very clear and powerful manner. Some of those skills are not taught to us in school. So we understood that, look, we have to do something about it or nobody's going to do that. And that's how we came about to create the Leadership University.
Well, I agree with you because I can remember my education in the States, and I know how education here is in Brazil. And I agree with you on the point that from the teacher standpoint, everything seems to be more mechanical. And really not user-friendly. And what happens here in Brazil specifically, people get through the high schools, get through university, but they can't find a job because the schools are preparing them for something, and the corporations and company need something else, and you're just on two different paths.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's basically that's the foundation of the Leadership University, and we obviously bring in our business experiences to expose some of our students to the real business world, mm-hmm, how they can survive in it, how they can adjust, how they can adapt, very fast. And we go through something we call the wisdom teams. So the wisdom teams are teams in which everybody gets a chance to lead the team.
Right.
And we all know that, when we talk about leadership, it's not necessarily about leading 5,000 people, but it's about first discovering your own sense of leadership, then stepping into leading others. So in the wisdom teams, every student has the opportunity to step in that leadership role where they have the opportunity to explore themselves and also lead others. So yeah, that's the Leadership University, basically what it is about.
Now, for persons to follow this, is this a remote type educational feature? How is it, or is it a structured university?
No, this is, everything happens online. Thus far, we've been working a lot with universities in China. One of our biggest clients is a university in China that, I will not call the name, but they have about 3,000 professors on campus and 17,000 students currently. Yeah, which is huge, right? So everything's been happening online. We create our courses online. You can go on a platform, and as soon as you obviously make payments, you can access all the materials. And there's a support structure behind it, where we have a weekly, can call it classes or weekly meetings with our students, to go through whatever they're going through and offer support and coaching wherever it's needed.
Well, besides the university, it seems everything that you focus on is leadership, right? And forming great leaders in different ways. Obviously, the university gives us the structure, but also you have Salesforce Catalyst. Is that where you bring the business side together?
Yeah, so Salesforce Catalyst, I just want to give it to listeners that is not Salesforce, but it's sail as in sail with the boat, S-A-I-L.
S-A-I-L, right.
yeah, Salesforce Catalyst. Tom, when I started Salesforce Catalyst, which actually the company that is senior to Leadership University, I started Salesforce Catalyst about 4.5 years ago, when after going through, should I say, major life challenges, at that point, everything I've worked for, going from Togo, by the way, I'm originally from Togo-West Africa, going from Togo, growing up in a 2-bedroom house with 9 siblings, and deciding to leave my country to change my destiny, to change what life has in store for me. And that journey took me about 18 months to go from one side of the continent to the next, which I'm talking about going from Togo to South Africa. And within those 18 months, my family thought I was dead. And eventually, when I arrived in South Africa, I had days with no food. I had days with no shelter. I did all kind of things you can ever think of. And eventually, when I got given an opportunity to sell vacuum cleaners, I was once a vacuum cleaner salesperson. and I can tell you that then I had never seen a vacuum cleaner in my life when I was asked to be a vacuum cleaner salesperson. Okay, I was like, okay, what's this? How am I gonna sell this? Okay, and I got given a sales script, and I went home and studied that sales script. And the following day, when I came back to start my work, I worked for 3 years, nonstop, 7 days a week, 12 to 15 hours every single day making sales. And from there, I got given an opportunity to become a senior manager in that company, of which I led hundreds of people and made money, and which after that I went to start my own company, which crashed after. Now when that company crashed, and I had lost everything I had worked for 5 years from Togo, going through tribulations, wars, and things to actually rise to that point, I was faced with the question, where do I do next?
Right.
Where do I go next? And that was when Salesforce Catalyst was born, because that was the point I wanted to really tap into my leadership gift. I wanted to tap into my motivational speaking gift. I wanted to tap into my inspirational gift. And that is what Salesforce Catalyst is about. So Salesforce Catalyst is the company that focuses, it's my baby, my company that focuses on inspiring others, helping others to transform, going from a place where they are slaves of the 3 toughest demons of mankind, fear, self-doubt, and low self-esteem, to stepping into a zone where they grab and take hold of their own sense of leadership and step into life like captains, like commanders.
What you're saying is leadership takes all forms. You can lead from the front, you can lead from the back, you can lead from the sides.
Indeed.
But from your sail force, if you don't have wind in your sail, you don't go anywhere.
Exactly.
And what you've learned, and I think you've applied that to the Leadership University, communication skills are fundamental today.
Agree.
If you get into the world, if you get out of school, if you do anything, if you get into a company, if you can't communicate, I don't want to say you're not useful, but you can't grow. Because part of what you do, what I do, we have to communicate and help others learn how to communicate. Because
Agreed.
There's so many people who know something. Back to your point of the teachers in school, they know things. They just don't know how to share, and they can't teach others to share in a practical way. So once you found yourself, and I think from what you said, what you found was being able to, you learned how to sell, because selling is communication.
Yes.
Selling is, and that's an idea, that's piece of equipment, that's anything, vacuum cleaner, to sell, it's communication.
Yeah, totally.
Now about your books, you have 2 books out. One is Psychology and Habits of Great Leaders.
Yes.
And you have another, Be Transformed. So that's a 10-week journey to your true self.
Yes.
Is that part of your personal journey, the Be Transformed?
Yes, totally. Be Transformed, the 10-week journey to your true self. Basically, is a book that I wrote after my 10 years of, should I say, of my first graduation from the University of Life. Let me put it like that. Yeah, that was my first graduation, and that, I think that book I can consider it like my thesis. Okay, and the core of that book, Tom, I talk about how each and every one of us, we face these 3 demons that I mentioned earlier, but most importantly, we deal with the mindset of lack in a particular area of our lives.
Right.
Now, my mindset of lack was from growing up in a 2-bedroom, was being raised up, with poverty. So consistently throughout my life, even subconsciously, I'll find myself battling with making the right decisions without being affected by that mindset of lack, which I had developed when I was growing up in those 2-bedroom house. Now, for others, they might have grown up in a wealthy home, but for them, it might be the mindset of lack in a relationship. Right? For others, it might be a mindset of lack in discipline. Right? So I believe that each and every one of us, we deal with that mindset of lack in every area of our life. And I give a 10-week program in that book that literally anybody can take, and when they apply themselves duly, they can free themselves of those 3 toughest demons of mankind: fear, self-doubt, and low self-esteem, and definitely get rid of that mindset of lack and step into the zone where they are champions.
Steven, I see you. Well, you've come out of Africa. You've traveled through Africa, learning step by step. Today, you live in the Netherlands, and you also live in Turkey. So you're basically back and forth throughout Europe. Europe is also a microcosm of cultures and people and everything you seem to be talking about. What have you learned from Europe, and what have you been able to teach in Europe?
Well, I mean, some of the greatest talks I've had, Tom, are in Europe thus far. And what I share with Europeans, I mean, I was talking to this HR manager once. She's Dutch, and she also grew up, partially in Zambia, in Africa. So she was exposed to the African realities. And she asked me, but do you think that your talk will be as impactful in Africa as in Europe? Because I think African people can relate to your life struggles and everything. I'm like, look, when I speak in Europe, what I want to bring to their attention is that, first of all, the world is bigger than what they think it is.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Secondly, they have to be grateful and acknowledge the little privilege that life offers them instead of whining and being ungrateful.
Mm-hmm.
And then make use of that to create and shape their destiny the way they are supposed to. Okay. And when I talk in Africa, I bring my people back to the notion that, look, if I could do it, then you too, you can do it. Okay. That everything is possible if you truly believe in yourself.
Well, I agree that, and it all gets back to self-belief. First of all, you need to believe you can do it, then you can. If you think you're predestined to fail, you'll fail every day.
Agree.
Now, and you've seen that because Europe has been in the news from our standpoint when you talk about the immigration, the turmoil sometimes that's happening there. But it is a learning situation. People do learn to get along, to come together. The diversity, and then one of your other focuses is on diversity and equality. Do you see that happening in Europe?
Well, Tom, you've just thrown me under the bus there.
Well, it's different. It's different, your point of view from mine. I'm just an old white man, and you're African origin, so your perspective is completely different from mine.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there, Tom. Well, Tom, let's just say that let's be optimistic and saying that there is work being done currently in the European society, so that it can, really reflect this idea or this vision that we have of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? So let's say we are getting that. I mean, Europe is getting that. It's not fully there as yet,
right?
But there's definitely, there's definitely effort and work being done, into bringing everybody to the party and actually inviting them to dance, because those are two different things. Having people at the party, which is diversity, having different people at the party, and then inviting them to actually dance, which is inclusion.
Right.
Those are different things, right? Yeah. So there is work being done. There's still, work to do for the European society to reflect all those three aspects of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Well, then maybe the words are that the question would be, are you comfortable in an uncomfortable situation?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's my middle name. that's my middle name. Look, Tom, the truth is that there is no growth without uncomfort.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. If you don't face the uncomfortable situation, you will not be able to stretch yourself to the point where you know what you are capable of. Okay. Today, I am able to speak. I'm able to communicate, to inspire others. Okay. To be the best version of themselves, to inspire others to truly tap into their God-given potential. I'm able to do that today.
Right.
And only because of the things that are being true and the fact that I am myself, a true reflection of what I'm preaching. Do you get what I'm saying? And if it wasn't for these life struggles that I've been through, these uncomfortable situations that I've been through, then probably I may not have gotten the wisdom that I have today to speak about. So yes, definitely bring me uncomfort, and I want to swim in it, so that when I get out of that water, I'm definitely growing more than ever.
Oh, I agree with you. It's helping others find themselves, because the personal journey is personal. It's unique.
Yes.
And nobody else is going to be Steven, and nobody else in the world is going to be Tom. But what you do, you have to, and what you do that very well, is help the others be themselves.
Agree, 100%.
Now, is that the same challenge in Turkey as in the Netherlands?
To be honest, Tom, when I came to Turkey, a couple of months ago, I started a public speaking club. Okay, and this public speaking club, basically, I said that we use the power of 2 or 3 minutes to transform people's lives. And yesterday we had a show. So basically, the people that are having the club. So I started this club, Tom, with 3 people. Okay. After 6 months, we have about 35 members.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. And out of the 35 members, you can call it a graduation. So there are these 5 people that I've handpicked. And yesterday we put together a show where we had about 100 people that turned up in the audience to come and watch these 5 speakers. Right. And I can tell you, Tom, that the feedback I got yesterday was overwhelming. It was great. And yesterday, I felt again that, this is what I'm born to do. This is what I'm called to do, to inspire others and to help others find their voice and speak for themselves. So, when it comes to working with companies and so forth, I'm not very active in Turkey, but I think I'm more active here in helping others finding their voice and discovering themselves, that voice that's hidden deep down within, and unleashing that so that they can inspire the people around them. And it's been great, Tom. It's been awesome.
Well, I think that is an art, and I think what you said is true. Success, it comes step by step, and success doesn't come in a truckload or a boatload.
Agreed.
But success comes person to person. And if you can onboard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you create the leadership focus in each, they start multiplying. And it becomes viral. I think that's the essence, and everything I can see now, having spoken with you, everything that you do seems to be overlapping, interwoven, and put together piece by piece.
Indeed. Yeah, that's the spirit. Talking about success, Tom, you remind me of this definition by Earl Nightingale. He says the success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Yeah. And William James says that success is the consistent and relentless pursuit of a worthy ideal and the outer achievement related to that ideal. And those 2 men were great people, and they say the same thing.
Well, you're a great person yourself, and you're taking it step by step. Unfortunately, we're coming to the end of our time. I want to thank you for reaching out to me.
Thank you.
Because that also, for me, is an example of communication.
Indeed.
Many people have much to say like you do, but they have the fear of wanting to either expose themselves or reaching out to find a platform to tell their story. So I want to congratulate you and keep going step by step, and I hope in the future we can get back and talk again, okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tom. Appreciate you.
Very good. And for our audience, I want to thank you for sharing your time with us. You can find more about Steven Dossou, and it's Steven, Steven. The last name is Dossou. You'll find him on LinkedIn, and also you'll find his books on Amazon. The first, Be Transformed, and Psychology and Habits of Great Leaders. You'll also find his site, StevenDossou.com. That's StevenDossou.com. I'd like to thank you, our audience, and our sponsor, Focus MI Market Intelligence. Focus MI specializes in market research for the Brazilian agricultural market. More about them on their site, www.focusmi.com. All Talk to Brazil podcast shows can be found on major platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Amazon, Geo7, YouTube, and many others. Remember, when you talk to Tom, you talk to Brazil and the world. Goodbye, and thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to Tom Reaoch on Talk to Brazil, the business connector to Brazil.